life, your term show.
All right, here we are. Who's kicking this off?
Okay, we're live. I'm stepping in. Aiden is here, stepping in for Anthony. Normally Anthony runs the show, but I'm the substitute today.
Oh, Anthony's getting kicked off.
Yeah.
Downgraded.
Yeah, I'm taking over. So we're here with...
That's his new nickname.
Yeah,
Anthony downgrade.
Downgrade Molinaro.
Yeah.
I was telling these guys the other day, Nick, you used to have a nickname at the office that kind of faded now, but when I first joined a couple of summers ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
What was it?
I slipped up and I said Uncle Nick.
Oh, yeah.
And that went around the office, but that's now faded. So you're no longer Uncle Nick.
No, you're right.
But
Nigel had Nige Bear.
Yeah, that was a good one too.
We haven't called him Nige Bear.
I think that was from the gym, right?
That was from the gym, yeah.
We didn't like that one.
No, we got to get back to Nige Bear.
Yeah, we might have to do that after this. But okay, I just have some questions, so I'm going to fire it away.
Yeah, let's go.
You were just in New York. Why were you there? What were you doing? And what you learn?
Yeah, it was an investment conference. I think it was called Independent Investor. It was hosted by Anthony Pompliano. I think he's got a podcast I think some people listen to. He's got a decent following. And I saw it come across. I saw it kind of come up, and it was interesting to me. There was a bunch of people there talking about they were like ex finance guys for like big institutional finance kind of companies like the Morgan Stanley's, JP Morgan, that type of stuff. And there was a bunch of them there, and now they went out on their own, and some of them are managing money. I think the biggest one that I saw was, I think one guy's got his firm now has about $7 billion under management.
Okay, so yeah, big size.
Yeah, he grew a bunch just over the last year. It was like $1 billion, which is still an enormous amount, but I mean, it's much smaller. But just over the last year, he had grown a bunch. But anyways, these guys have gone off, and some of them are just independent investors doing their own thing. They're analysts. They work with other people. So it was interesting to see kind of like what that segment of the world was doing. And then specifically, it was around a lot of the digital asset space and AI.
Okay.
And that stuff interested me. Jordi Visser was one of the guys there, and he's an economist.
Cool. We all like listening to Visser.
Yeah. So he's kind of got some good takes that seem to make sense to me. So he was there, which interested me. So
what was he saying to you about Tesla? Because I remember you said you spoke to him briefly, or he was on stage there talking about Tesla, just how people are kind of missing.
Yeah. So I went up to him and I wanted to ask him, I said, what do you, in the conversations you're having around those spaces, so like those kind of like Wall Street type spaces,
because he's kind of bridging, I think, like that old Wall Street type to this kind of newer.
He seems to be, because he used to work in that world, and now he's out on his own, right? And I asked him, like, what are the conversations around Bitcoin specifically? I'm like, what conversations are they having around Bitcoin? Like, do they look at Bitcoin or Ethereum or these other coins? Do they look at them differently? And he said that the majority of them, and I'm going to kind of butcher it, so don't take this word for word.
Like, do they look at the coins differently?
Yeah. Do they look at the coins differently, or the technology or whatever? And he said, look, there are some of those conversations starting to happen with the tech guys that are in finance and understand the tech. He goes, very, very few. It's only the tech guys. And to give me context, he said, listen, look, I just wrote this long form paper on Tesla, because he's a Tesla bull. He's like, I don't think people see what's happening with Tesla, and like what they're going to do with these humanoid robots, with the batteries. Like, it's far more than the cars. So he wrote this long form paper, and he said 100% of the feedback that he got from the people like in the financial world that he knows, he said 100%. They were all like negative on it. And they said, oh no, here we go. Like, Musk got to you too now, so, he goes, they don't, in his opinion, from his view, is they don't see it, because he's looking at AI and technology.
They're still looking at it as a car company, but he sees it as a tech company with robotics and data.
And everything, just the economy in general. He's like, look what tech's doing to the economy. So anyway, so there's some conversations there that were quite interesting in what some people were doing. Some people were raising funds for some healthcare funds, and they were doing raises. And it was really interesting. I actually saw a couple of Rockstar members there.
Cool.
That were there that are coming to our event in a couple of weeks.
Nice.
I'm like, coming to our event? I'm like, why are you coming to our event? And they looked at me, they're like, what do you mean, why are we coming? Like, it's good. I'm like, no, I mean, like, what are you into? Like, are you into real estate? Or are you into something else? Because you're here, not coming to that event. So they're real estate guys, same thing, a couple of young guys, and they're just kind of exploring, right? So that's what it was. So it's I don't know. I like being a fly on the wall in those types of places.
There's so much happening. I think it's just cool to listen in.
Yeah.
And I think something Visser said a couple of weeks ago on a podcast that kind of clicked for me was, we've had this ChatGPT moment for software. Everyone sees what AI can do kind of for like the white collar labor type job, but the click hasn't happened yet in robotics. It hasn't been a moment yet with like humanoids or self-driving cars yet. It's happening now slowly in New York and in San Fran.
It's really interesting when they talk about on the podcast, the conversations him and Pomp have had a few times, and when they talk about self-driving cars and the pushback that's going to come from like in the New York area, but like all the drivers, like the pushback that's going to come when that comes. And it doesn't seem like if that comes anymore. It seems much more likely that it's when it comes. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, it's going to be big. Because remember just Ubers? Like when Uber came to New York, man.
Totally disrupted the taxi industry.
It was a big problems, right? So it's going to be interesting to see where that goes. Like there's a lot of disruption yet to come, I think. Yeah. So yeah, that's why I was down in New York. Went down a day early. 2 beautiful days in New York. So I just hung out. I ate a lot of good food, walked around a ton, and went shopping for the family and went to the conference and then scooted back.
And for anyone wondering, Waymo, I think, is the company that has started the self-driving cars in New York. I'm pretty sure it's them.
Oh, I didn't think any started in New York.
New York, no?
I didn't think so. Not New York. I think.
But I know Waymo, I think, is the leading company right now that have started maybe on the West Coast.
I forget, yeah, because I know the Tesla one is growing at a faster pace than Waymo, but that Waymo started first. So I don't know where
it'll be interesting to see what happens. Yeah. I don't know enough about it. Before we leave this topic, I want to ask you some real estate questions. But just yesterday, I believe, OpenAI was valued at $500 billion. And Tether a week ago was also valued at $500 billion, and they're both private companies, so they're just raising money and they're kind of coming up with their own valuation. But both are $500 billion companies. Who do you think is going to be bigger in 5 years' time? So you have Tether totally on the stable coins and digital payments type of thing, and then you have OpenAI on everything AI.
Wow. Yeah, that's a loaded question. I think what's going to happen... It is,
and it's a shot in the dark. But.
No, but I think what's going to happen is they're both going to... It depends about the industry around them, because I think they're both going to lose market share. Like, there are going to be so many AI competitors to ChatGPT.
And you're seeing it now with Gemini,
already,
with Grok.
So there's a bunch of those. And you're seeing it with Tether too. So if you look at Tether and USDC, they've been losing market share over this year as well, as more of the coins start coming out. And I think that's going to happen as well. So I think that's probably, instead of saying which one's going to be bigger, to me, I think that's the more important trend, is that neither one of them is going to have the market share that they have now, but I think both of them will be bigger because those areas,
industries are just exploding.
Those industries will be bigger than they are today.
Agreed.
I think that's kind of the way I'm looking at it.
Agreed. Cool. There's a point there that I was going to mention and now I forget. But okay, on to some real estate stuff. So there was a chart that Ben Rabideau put out in his latest report, and it was just a chart on single family home building permits. And that is the lowest now since the 1980s. I'm assuming it's just because the way the market's been with higher interest rates the last couple of years, and it's just more profitable for a lot of these builders to build high density stuff like townhomes or condos. That's the reason, do you think?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of reasons. The affordability is one. So it's as the cost of things have gotten more expensive, it's harder for more people to afford a larger piece of land with a house on it versus either a smaller piece of land or kind of like a shared piece of land, like a stacked townhome or something like that, or a condo, So there is that factor for sure. More recently, specifically, those building permits would have dropped because they're not selling. Right. So nothing's really been selling as far as pre-sales. So they're not really developing any because they can't sell them, and they want to sell some before they start building. So that's why we've seen it go straight down. But the longer term trend over decades has been down as well. And I think that's the more worrying trend. And to me, it goes back to affordability. And it sucks. Like, I don't really want, and I'm going to sound like Tom, because I don't want to bring it back to the money. But it kind of does come back to that, when you screw around with the money supply and the money system and you mess up affordability for everyone, then you're forced into there's these second order effects that happen. And this is being one of them.
Totally.
Because all this money has gone into asset prices versus incomes. And then, I just did a YouTube video earlier today, and I forget the number, but we did the math we compared the Canada Home Price Index. It was over the last 10 years. It was from earlier this year, and I believe the home price index was up about 20% or so. And then we took the wages in Canada for full-time employees and what percentage of the M2 supply those wages are. So that's like, how much of the money supply is going to wages.
Sure.
And that had dropped about 30% over the last 10 years. So we have asset prices. We have more money in the system, which is pushing asset prices up, and a lower percentage of that
aren't going the same.
No, because a large percentage is going to income. They're going to assets, and that's where things get all screwed up. So I think that's why we're seeing this trend with single family homes, and I don't think it's going to change. Like, I really don't think it's going to change. There's other factors in the Toronto area specifically. So like things like, people call it the Manhattanization of Toronto.
Yep.
So you can't build on the lake.
Sure.
North, there's a green belt. Like around Toronto, there's a
like
green
supply
belt.
and demand and dynamics play into that as well.
And the government can open up the green belt at any time, but politically, it's like suicide. Like last time Go Forward had like secret recordings talking about it or whatever, there was like all these pushback. It's like, no, I'm not going to do it. So, I mean, will they eventually do it? Maybe, but they can't also do it because affordability. They can't push their services out to these other areas, right? If it's all low rise as well, because there's cost to that it's hard for these municipalities to absorb because they're really all running in the red.
Now, do you think if rates trend down a little bit lower over the next year, do you think that takes up and single family homes permits, and I don't know, will there be more single family homes being built?
Yeah, I think nothing's a straight line, right? So I don't think it goes straight down, but I think unless the trend changes around affordability, it's not a long-term change. But if you dropped every single family home to 250 grand today, well, yeah, there's going to be building a lot more people are going to be buying them, right? But can there be a short-term affordability change? 100%. Will that matter? Yes, absolutely. Totally. But what's happening long-term? And that's like, if we don't fix the structural problems underneath, then that longer term trend of it kind of heading downwards, I think that continues.
Yeah, and I don't think those structural anything structurally is going to change anytime soon.
There's no indication that it's going to. Like we have the budget coming out in a month, and it's like looks like I think it's just going to be a gong show.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, no, I agree.
And we've still, just a couple of weeks ago, we're handing out money, hand over fist to all these weird and wonderful causes in other parts of the world.
Tariff relief programs too.
We can't even get our own house in order. We have like housing issues here that we're not worried about, but we're sending hundreds of $millions overseas. Like it's virtue signaling at its worst when we can't take care of our own people. So I don't think, like, until we fix kind of like structurally all that stuff, but maybe we get surprised. Like maybe I'm an eternal optimist. Maybe this thing comes out. We're like, hey, we're going to invest into infrastructure and manufacturing in Canada to bring jobs back and do all this. But like, let's be honest.
They're already taking a stab at those government built homes. What's it going to cost? $3 million a home to build? Something like that? That's going to just be it. That's going to be a disaster. There's there is like, I can't tell the future. Everything's got, Greg Foss always talked about probabilities being assigned to everything. The probabilities of the government getting involved in home building going well and being efficient is like as low as they come. Because if you look at anything else they're involved in our country, anything, it is not efficient. It doesn't go as planned. There's cost overruns. There's no incentive for them to be efficient with it.
It's an absolute joke. And I think that's probably, if we really go far down that path, it's just going to make the problem worse.
On the condo side of things, I have some friends that recently got jobs downtown and are looking to move downtown, and they're looking at rent prices, which are still crazy compared to, incomes coming out of school. But just after listening to what Peter from Greybrook was saying a couple of weeks ago, just how
rents are depressed right now.
Rents are easing, as we know, and see that on the headlines everywhere. Downtown, they're easing right now, but then in 2027, 2028, it looks like condo completions completely fall off a cliff because no one's building right now. Mm-hmm. So some of my friends, I was talking to them, I'm like, yeah, if you can lock in rent sometime over the next 12 months, it might be not bad, because if completions fall off a cliff in a year or two, rents might have some upward pressure on them, and
it might be.
Might be glad you did it.
Yeah, that's what Peter was saying. Like, his opinion is that, I think he said they were going to gap up.
Yeah, right? That's what he said.
So not next year, but he goes like after next year, once that supply kind of gets absorbed, he goes, I think there's going to be a real problem.
But it's nuts. Even at the price point, if you're looking for, if it's a 2-bed and you're splitting the rent, it's a little cheaper than renting a place to yourself down there, but still, it's like the average income compared to the average rent down there is nuts. Like, I would say 50% of your after-tax income is going to be going to rent, if not more.
Yeah.
And that's what you see. So going back to the broken money, now you see in New York, you have like the younger generation. So like my Gen Z, and it's not just Gen Z, but they're going to vote in the socialist.
We'll see. I mean, yeah. I mean, I never make assumptions, but it seems
on Polymarket yesterday is an 83% chance to win.
Really? Yeah, it seems that way.
I don't know when the election is actually. It's coming up. I don't know when it is.
I don't know when it is either. But it is leaning that way, and if it goes that way, that'll be an interesting experiment.
That'll be interesting for sure. And I can see why people my age are fed up and want to change. But that's definitely not the route to go, because they're looking around. They're saying, "I can't."
Did you look at any polls around what age group is voting for him? Is it people around your age?
I should have. I haven't.
Because it's weird. Like, I found that super interesting during the Canadian election that the younger generations skewed far more conservative.
That's a good point.
The older generations skewed liberal, which is like almost reverse of what it's ever been.
You're right.
In this country.
Yeah. No, I should look at that. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's not like that there, but I mean, like, that was like totally backwards. And I mean, look, there's a number of people I know that just look at, some older people in this in and around our area, and they're just like, they don't understand. Like, they think it's the same as when they were growing up, and they don't understand that it's actually different.
Well, the funny stat that was going around my friend's group chat just last week, you saw the chart too. It's, I think, yeah. So I have it in front of me. Over the age of 65 is the only set of the population in Canada that thinks the Canadian economy is good or very good. Every other, so 65 years old or younger, everyone else thinks it's poor or very poor.
Really? What's the split for like the next one down below 65?
So 55 to 64, 35% think it's good or very good, and 62% think it's poor or very poor.
So it's a big change.
It's a big drop. And right now is actually, for my generation, it's the highest unemployment since 2010, excluding COVID. So that's 15 to 24-year-olds.
Hey everyone, I wanted to quickly share my personal journey with the Rockstar Inner Circle. I joined Rockstar when I was 23 years old because I wanted to learn how to invest in real estate, and I was looking for the right people to guide me. What I didn't expect was how much more the Inner Circle would give me. It's not just about investing, it's about being a part of a community that is genuinely invested in each other's success. I've learned so much here, from real estate strategies to understanding the economy, personal finance, and how the whole money system works. I've gained the knowledge to build my own business, create my own assets, and leverage the biggest trends in the world. But more than that, it's the growth mindset and personal development that have transformed how I approach life and investing. Having a community of like-minded people to share wisdom, experiences, and lessons with has been invaluable. From finding tenants and growing a real estate portfolio to designing the life you want, it's been a game changer. Being part of the Inner Circle has completely changed my perspective on money and life. The insights I've gained have helped me make smarter decisions, and I'm now way more confident in my financial future. If you're ready to level up your investing, mindset, and your life, I can't recommend the Rockstar Inner Circle enough. It's not just a membership, it's an opportunity to design the life you want. Thanks for letting me share this with you, and I hope to see you in the Inner Circle soon. If you're curious to learn more, feel free to check out rockstarinnercircle.com/get started for free resources and see if it's the right fit for you. Now back to the show.
Yeah. And this is what, like, it just blows my mind, because some people, and even like your grandmother, my mom, didn't get this. She's like, because we're like, we kind of have to look at other options for our kids too, just in case like Canada doesn't kind of, fix correct course. And she was like, well, I don't understand. Like, how could you say such a thing that doesn't make sense? And I'm like, no, like, Mom, like, it's not for me. Like, we're going to be fine, but I'm not a good parent if I'm not at least exploring options for my kids based on what I believe, or the course I believe we're currently on, which I don't think is a positive one. I think we skew negative.
Totally.
And so then, but then I eventually, I sent her a bunch of different data. I sent her charts like this and stuff. And then finally, after a couple of months, she's like, okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
And I think it was finally, she had a discussion with someone who came by her house or something. I forget who it was, but it was a younger guy. I think he was in his 20s or 30s. And she said, he said him and all his friends are thinking like this. I'm like, I know, because like, it's like you and your buddies, because they're all looking around thinking like, hey, like, maybe there's an opportunity for us elsewhere. No different than when people came to Canada years ago. They're like, they came here, and even more recently, they came here thinking there was more opportunity here.
For sure. And
there was for a long, long period of time. And then slowly now we've just been misguided, and there's not nearly the opportunity there was in the past.
Agreed. And I think also, for my age, there's been a shift now where just everyone wanted to go to university. Everyone wanted to have their kids at university. And there's just been now these bloated universities with all these random programs that aren't going to get you good jobs. And I think you're starting to see it now. And some of my friends that have actually done the best for themselves so far, so I'm 23 now, are the ones that have gone to the trades. And I still think there's opportunities in both sides
Yeah, look, if you're like a top performer in anything, there's an opportunity.
Totally. But I think between the housing issues that we have in the GTA and then just in North America as a whole with all this data center build out, being in the trades, I think is going to be really, really good. If you're an electrician right now, I think you're going to have lots of demand no matter where you are.
Yeah, I think almost, I think there's a lot of trades for sure. And
totally. I think all of them.
Yeah. And their incomes are good. The value of their work. I feel like we've done everyone a disservice. Like I know when I was in school, if you were going into the trades and you weren't going to post-secondary, it was kind of like, oh, okay. Like you couldn't hack it. You know what I mean?
Like weird stigma.
Yeah, totally. And I think we did everyone a disservice.
And I think it's really only continued. Maybe it started to shift now, but I don't think so. Yeah.
But sorry, I had this wire attached to my chair that's dragging me down here. But yeah, so like that's kind of like, a little bit bothersome, like this because you're right. Like the university's kind of expanded into all these random programs. That's why I ask everyone now, like, what are you looking at? Like, how are you looking at education for your kids? Because even the way the universities are done, like I've seen university students working, right? I have kids in high school. I'm not going to say anything about their habits, but I will say university kids, you're doing some research on there's like two windows open on the computer. One is like an AI assistant and one is like
absolutely.
One is like the Microsoft Word.
100%.
And that's how everything's getting done. And I'm like, so what's the purpose? Like,
yeah, it's definitely too slow to catch up to all the change that's happening. And I think that the ones that'll, the university students, I think that'll still be best are the ones that are going into the industries that are regulated and need some kind of certification, whether it be a lawyer, a doctor, etc. And that might even be disrupted in the future. But I think those paths are still make the most sense if that's what you want to do. Something like that obviously still makes sense.
There's an argument to be made. I'm curious what you and your friends would think of this. I know you can't speak for all of them, but just based on your conversation. So like if I came to you guys now, you've been through university, and let's take away the fun you had, living with your friends and hanging out and not just partying, but just the social atmosphere, sure. Because there's definitely value to that. I'm not dismissing that. But if we just go to the university education side of it, so the cost for just tuition and books and things like that, and based on what you're seeing with the job prospects of people coming out in general, and I mean, I know there's some people that probably took terrible programs, some people took great programs, right? I think one of your buddies is now down in California working at Tesla or something like that.
Tesla, yeah.
It's done great, There's, so I know it's all over, but I just mean it on average. Can you, like, if I said to you guys, like, would you think it would make more sense to just kind of eat it a little bit and get some sort of entry-level position somewhere, and then just kind of like bust your ass and try to work your way up to the next level? Like, is it more valuable just to have that first experience of the first job now, or is it more valuable to have that and then teach yourself everything? Because all the information you need for anything you're doing is kind of available online.
Yeah, totally.
Right? Or is it more valuable still that piece of paper for you guys?
Yeah, I guess I'll answer it a couple of different ways. So first of all, I think it just goes back to, like, I feel fortunate I didn't pay for my own schooling. My parents helped me pay for my schooling. So I think that decision up front, whether you're going to have to take out debt to go through school or not, plays a big factor in what you're going to do.
That makes sense.
And yeah, it does all depend on the program. So right now I have a friend, he went to Western, he did Ivy, which is, a popular business school in Canada. It's seen as like one of the best ones in Canada. And he had a dual degree with engineering, and he just got a job, but he was searching for since he graduated, which is May, and he just got a job 3 weeks ago. So, and
is he happy with? Does he feel like, is it a good job in the field in whatever he wants to do, or is it just like, okay, well,
he needed a job. He couldn't find a job, and he needed a job, so he took it.
Yeah, gotcha.
So I think it's completely all over the place, because I have another friend who did software engineering at Waterloo and now got a great job at Tesla. And every summer he's been going down to the States to work, just because that's been so his skills have been in high demand. He worked for Apple, and now he's back at Tesla. And that worked well. But yeah, for a lot of
to get that in, so it's like that type of job, like
wouldn't have been possible.
And
if
even your other buddy that took whatever job he took now
might have not been possible for sure.
Yeah, so maybe you still need it. It'd be interesting to. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
But I would say, I think maybe years ago, like maybe the time that you and my dad were coming on to university, a lot more people were satisfied with the job that they were getting after graduating. Now I would say it might be 50-50 split, where some people were like, well, I don't know if this was really worth it. And maybe they were in like a history degree. Nothing wrong if you want to take those, but it might not give you the same opportunity as some of the other ones will.
Yeah, there's less job prospects.
So I think it's probably 50-50 across the board. I have a friend that went through university and now is completely shifted and has gone to the trades because he's like, I don't really see a future for myself here. And has shifted. So I'd say it's pretty split, like 50-50 down the middle.
I think 5 years from now, it becomes less valuable.
How are you looking at this now? Your kids are still young, high school and elementary school, but how are you looking at it for them?
And that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, I don't see, and it depends. Obviously, there's, like you said, doctors, lawyers, engineers, there's that type of stuff that stuff matters more because you need licenses but my oldest daughter, so I'll save her name, but it was, she'll be in, she's in grade 10. So she's got 2 more years left of high school before university. And I'm just kind of trying to figure this out. And I know, the way she's looking at university is basically like, well, she's seen you, she's seen your sister, and and other people's brothers and sisters. She's like, I don't know, that sounds like a good time. I want to go to university.
For sure.
I want to go party, But interestingly enough, she's not right now, and this could change, but she's not interested in being here for university. She wants to go south.
Okay.
Yeah, she wants to go south. But
and I guess back to the question you were asking me earlier, the biggest takeaways and lessons I learned from being at school, I was at Western in London, weren't the schooling itself, what I was learning in class. It was just the life skills of living away, having to meet deadlines, meeting people. Those were the lessons that probably had the biggest impact on me, not what I was learning in my marketing class.
Yeah, and I guess I look at that and I'm like, I don't disagree, especially because some of the stuff and the pace of change at these universities,
they can't keep up with it.
It's so slow, right? Like, and I just know from even.
Well, I wrote an essay. I knew we were still handing in essays on paper, so we'd print them out to the prof. And this is, I guess, my 4th year, so 2 years ago. ChatGPT was already out. I knew for sure I could get Chat.
If you're printing it out, he's not going to retype it to you.
Yeah. So, and I'm sure there's still profs like that today, and a lot of it is changing, I'm sure, but a lot of it isn't. So yeah, it's impossible.
So your essay was written by ChatGPT.
It was, yeah, and it did well.
Yeah. I don't think, can they come back now? I don't think they can come back and change a mark now. So
no, now I'm good. I got the degree. We're good.
But it's like, but so that's what I mean. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. I don't know. And that's really what I'm trying to figure out because, I'm trying to have that discussion with her too, and it'll depend, and there's still time, and there's a path to go. But you're right, like those skills are important, and being able to like live life independently is quite valuable, But I'm trying to figure out, is there another way to do that then doesn't involve these courses as well? That I'm like, if you're not getting these value out of these courses, especially if she wants to go south and the tuition's 80 grand a year or something, it makes it,
totally
a compelling argument the other way.
Okay. And then I want to ask you this, just because I feel like every event, some members are asking me questions on just what lessons you were teaching me, or I guess what my dad was teaching me as a kid when it comes to saving and investing. So does anything come to mind there when you're talking to your kids?
Yeah, I don't know if what lessons you remember. I'd be curious to know, because I can probably steal some of them and use them for my kids. I've just always tried to explain to them the way things work. Like everything. So I try to explain to them the cost of things. I try to explain to them why we're going to a house to pick up rent checks from people, and why we still have these other homes that things have to be done. Yep. Sometimes one of them seems more interested in prices of stuff and how things that works than the other one. So I see kind of different things. But my biggest thing is I'm always trying to just have them understand the way things work so that they can they're not left out of those conversations. And I think I guess we grew up in a house where we didn't really have financial conversations at all. You see it too. Your grandfather to this day, if you start talking about household finances.
Yeah,
with him.
yeah.
He'll just like walk away.
Yeah,
He's
totally.
gone, right? And your grandmother has some interesting financial thoughts as well. So it's like, it was like totally different. So I just don't want them to be left out. I want them to understand the way we're thinking. It doesn't mean that everything we say is going to be right, but then they can make their own decisions, and they have just a wider array of information to make their decisions with. But I do teach them the importance of saving. I'm like, look, you've got to save for stuff, because if you don't, then you have, when things come up, you have nothing. I do try to explain to them, and I have been explaining to them things like self-liquidating assets. So you can have an asset, then people can pay it off for you, and then you can leverage that asset, and those things are important. And then the value of hard money, like, gold, Bitcoin, that type of stuff, and the difference between these dollars that are just created. And I mean, it's weird, because I started teaching my youngest daughter this at she was probably 8 years old or something.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's young.
But she was listening, and she kind of gets it, and she kind of gets it now. So, and when so she like, it's kind of worked out for her, and she sees some of her savings that have been saved in a harder money than the Canadian dollar. She's seen them go up in purchasing power. So she's like, oh my God.
Gets you a little excited.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, it might be a couple $1,000, but now it's worth $3,000. She's like, oh my God, like, how's it 3,000? It was 2,000. I'm like, well, here's the way this works, so it can still buy you this amount of goods versus it before it wouldn't be able to buy. So it's just some basic stuff, and then now that as they get older, then it's trying to get into more advanced stuff, and just trying to help them understand that it's money's not for going to Sephora and trading it in for a whole ton of makeup.
Yeah. We should tell my sister that too.
That's what I try to teach them. So far I'm losing that battle.
Yeah. Sephora seems to have a grip on everyone.
Sephora is a criminal organization. I'm convinced.
Yeah, it's wild. That place always is a line too. When I'm waiting outside, if my sister's grabbing something, it's that place is packed.
It's crazy. And then like my youngest daughter's now is, and I know you know this, but she's 11, and she's like, "Here, Dad, here's for," I forget what it was recently. I guess it was her birthday list, but that was a while ago. I don't know. There was some sort of list of stuff that she wanted, or I think she just wanted to take her own money and go buy something. And she went to buy some like, it was hair oil or something. I know, I barely have hair. Like, I don't need oil. And it was like $60.
Yeah, those prices are nuts.
Yeah, she took her own money. She went with her friends. She bought it. And then like we found out, we're like, whoa, hold on here. No. Like this $60 on hair oil, and at 11 years old. Yeah. This is like, no, this is a no thing. She's like, well, it's my money. I can do whatever I want. I'm like, yes, you're right. That's like, as long as you save some, you can do whatever you want with it. Except there's exceptions.
Sure.
So anyways, that's that's my own battle.
The biggest thing that I remember, it's nothing groundbreaking, but it was just split all the money that comes in, whether it was when I was working at Longo's or it was like birthday money from a kid. It was just split everything 50-50. 50% goes in to savings, and 50% I can do whatever I want with. Maybe not buy coconut oil.
Yeah, I kind of like subscribe to that same lesson, and so then we have to give them freedom to spend money on stuff that I don't really want them spending money on. But then at the same time, there's there hasn't been many times. It's just that specific time where we're like, hey, there's got to be limits here.
Sure.
Well, I thought I could spend money on anything. I'm like, yeah, but if I see you being taken advantage of, then I have to,
let you know.
As a father, I have to kind of protect you.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, now I'm interested in your take then on, if you were talking to me, but I already kind of know your thoughts. We've talked about stuff in the past, but if one of my friends were here, or someone else asking you questions, that's maybe early 20s, has some income coming in, and is just wondering what to do with their money. And first, before like what to do with it, it's like, what are your thoughts on the TFSA? There's the first time home buyer savings account. There's other things you can do with your money, but I guess, what do you think about those government offered programs first?
I'm okay with them. I guess to a point, because like, if you can invest in things tax free, and if there's any opportunity to do things tax free in a place like Canada where taxes can really kind of chew into earnings, I take advantage of that. So the TFSA, it's not like a ton of stuff that you can do, but if you can kind of make a decent return, that can kind of help. I guess I say it cautiously, because anything where there's more rules or regulations around it, I'm less interested in. So the RESP is a good example. I know a lot of people like the RESP for their kids, and great. If you like it, do it. And, some people are like, well, you get free money because the government will give you a grant. I forget the numbers now, but if you put in so much, they'll give you a grant a little bit. So it's like, free money that way. Like, okay, that's great. I don't want the government telling me what I can do when I can do it. Like you can only take the money out for these specific institutions. And what if I want my kid to go to a different type of school that does a different type of learning and I feel that's valuable to them, and those are the money? Well, now all of a sudden I can't use it. Like it doesn't seem to make sense to me.
Sure.
So anything with a lot of government regulation around it, I don't like.
Yeah, because I guess at a snap of fingers, they can change the rules.
And they will. Look last year what they tried to do with the capital gains tax. At the snap of fingers, it's like, okay, we're changing the capital gains tax. That's it. Right. So it's look, as the governments need more money because of their crappy spending habits and the way they run it. Right. I'm trying not to swear. I haven't sworn yet, so I'm going to try not to swear.
Right.
So, but they're so garbage at managing their own books. The only way they try to do things is they keep trying to steal more of our money. So the likelihood that those taxes are going to go
controls.
up. Look what's going on around the world. Like that's just what
I think you've seen it in
doing.
Australia. I think Australia, I don't know if it was their version of a TFSA or
some sort of some sort of retirement
but
account.
over a certain number, and now I forget what the number is, it was taxed at whatever tax rate they came up with. So,
yeah. They're like, oh well, if you've kind of hold too much of this, we're just going to take some of it. And what like people don't talk about is like it's this this idiotic policy that they have through this inflation that pushes the prices of things up and pushes the values of some of these accounts up. So just because people are not then like they're getting the benefit of not even the benefit, but they're breaking even basically because of their stupid policies. Now they have to pay a price for it. Like it's just ridiculous.
Totally.
So those ones I don't like. So the TFSA I'm definitely more open to, but the other ones with more rules and regulations around it, like the RRSP and things like that, I stopped contributing to those a long time ago. I did early on when I had a 9-to-5 job. I was working at the government, but then I just stopped a long time ago because I just felt like the options that I had outside of the RRSP were better. Yeah,
I kind of feel the same way. Like I still like to use my TFSA for tax advantage reasons, obviously, but I don't want to have all of my money in my TFSA. And yeah, it's not like I'm planning maybe in 30 years from now still using the TFSA just because so much can change. And then I guess a couple of my friends are also thinking about the first home savings account, which I should look more into because I honestly haven't. But if you haven't maxed out your TFSA, I feel like that would make sense to do first because you can use the funds to do with whatever you want rather than maxing out the home buyer savings account first because then you have to use it for buying a home.
I think that makes sense. That's the way I would look at it for sure. If you want to do it that way. Yeah. Right. And the first home buyer savings plan, again, some challenges come up with that because what if all of a sudden the home you wanted to buy, so someone gets a good job and they get the job in North Carolina.
Yeah.
And they're like, I'm going to go there.
Totally. There's more restrictions.
Now what? So you're what? I have to extract all that and pay one lump sum of tax there all of a sudden? That kind of sucks.
Yeah, that's not going to be fun.
So I'm not saying not to do it. I'm just using that as an example of sometimes you make a financial decision at a point in time. And I've learned this the hard way as well. And I'm like, oh, this seems very smart for me right now. And right now I'm dealing with one that I made 8 years ago. And it was smart for me 8 years ago. And it's not like stupid now. But would I do it again? Would I make the same decision years ago? No, my position's changed and I wouldn't do that again.
I see.
But I'm locked into this contract that I'm like, I don't really want to be locked into anymore, unfortunately. So be it. I'm there now, but it's just a lesson I've learned now.
Okay, cool. So now, I guess just with everything happening, I feel like there's people that are scared just with, AI, but then just the, incomes to asset ratios. People are like, what's going to happen to my kids? How are things going to be? If you were talking to me, let's say, what comes to mind? Like, do you think an audience and a list becomes even more important as? Yeah.
I think, sorry, finish the question.
You know what? I don't even know where I'm going with the question, but I'm just curious as to your take as like,
so I think
if you were my age, what would you be looking to do?
Yeah, I think that's an asset. I think anything when you have people's attention is an asset. So that to me is like a business asset. So if I was your age and looking back now on hindsight, I've realized that something that served me well over time, that I feel like it will continue to serve me over time, is owning assets. And I didn't realize it at the time. I didn't realize how everything worked. I was just trying to get my flipping hands on a property. I thought I was going to try to get rich. You know what I mean? It wasn't even get rich, actually. I got to correct that. At no time did I start investing in real estate because I wanted a mansion on the lake or a private helicopter or any of that stuff. I just never cared about it. I wanted freedom. I wanted time freedom from the beginning. That was the goal. And it's given me that. So owning assets has been the most valuable thing that I've done in my life, right? And whether it's real estate or other assets, And I still think that's going to be valuable for people if you own real things that are desirable. So I would continue to do that. One of those things from a business aspect is your own list. If you can capture people's attention.
What I mean by list is an email list.
Is an email list. Well, yeah, it could
or
be
a list of anything.
It could be a list of addresses. It could be a list of phone numbers, whatever it is. And it's, it could be an audience on YouTube or Instagram because like, look, you know that those things are valuable. However, you also have to realize with those types of assets that you don't really control those. And
that's what I was about to ask.
Yeah. And we've seen a number of people get shut down.
So you like the email list best because you can
you can control it list until they tax emails.
Sure.
Like, look, if Canada Post shuts down, like, how far are we away from it's like, oh, you want to send emails, like mass emails? Yeah, no problem. It's just one send email, no problem. Just send, that's what it costs.
Yeah.
Like, I think is that a possibility? I don't know. It doesn't seem that far-fetched.
Well, I mean, you see what happens in the UK with just censoring speech online.
It can be anything. So you just don't know. So you're never, it's nicer to control physical addresses because you could send mail to them. I don't know what's going on with Canada Post now. It's going to go to community mailboxes. Are they going to shut it down completely? Yeah, I doubt it. But so there's always a risk. But I just mean like there's different risks with different levels of risk with different lists and different platforms. So just kind of keep that in mind, right? It wasn't too many years ago that we had doctors, certified doctors, like multiple of getting together, talking about, diseases and vaccines in an educated, peer-reviewed way. And they were getting shut down on free speech. Like, just saying, oh, you can't say that because the government doesn't want you saying that. So that doesn't fit the narrative. So we're just going to shut you down. So this is like, so we know this stuff can happen. So you just got to kind of be aware of that.
Email's the easiest way to get direct to
right
someone.
Now it's kind of easier.
Yeah. And I wonder how that changed just over time. Like, I wonder, it'd be interesting to see the stats on like my age group and the amount of emails they read versus
I would your age. Yeah, I don't actually know
because I'm sure it's less, but I still do use my email. There's a lot of important stuff I need my email for, but I'm just curious.
You guys use text messages?
Yeah, way more. If I don't get a reminder on my phone, and it just comes to my email, I'm like, I wish I was getting the text too because that'd be.
Yeah, I know. I get it. And there's some things I want to do on text, but there's some things I don't. Like, I don't really want to conduct business via text.
No, yeah.
And maybe because I'm an old guy, like I want to, like if I'm buying or selling a home, for example, I want it done by email. But
totally.
I know from talking to the team, there's a lot of people that prefer to do it by text. So the team will do it with them via text.
Yeah, that's why.
So some people want to do it that way. So it's just not for me. But I also know, maybe it's just the systems, my own productivity systems I have in place. It's like, I know I'm far more productive on a computer. So you give me a laptop and I can pump through things, get information. I can do a ton of stuff. You ask me to do the same thing on my phone. And I'm like, it's so slow for me that I'm like, I'm not even going to bother.
Yeah. It's wild. I saw a chart the other day, just reading since 2010, just straight decline in people. I forget the age group, but it was like young people. And since 2010, it's just been falling off a cliff.
Just reading in general.
Like reading books.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens there. And it'll be
I think people listen to books now.
Yeah, you're right.
Right? And now, so like, I've listened to more books recently than I had in the past. So I was reading more, but I do find I still read a lot of research papers, long form articles, things like that. I read a lot of that stuff, just not as many full on books as I used to. So my habits have changed too. But now, because these language models have gotten so good, and like the realisticness, I don't even know if that's a word, but how realistic these voices are. It's really easy because the new browsers coming out, they're like, well, you can just right click like any web page and it'll just read it
to you. Yeah. And it's good.
Right. So I'm like, oh, this is going to be interesting. I think the reading might even drop further, I think, for people. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I kind of think so too. And especially as everyone is just asking AI for all their questions, it's going to be weird. And it's just spitting the answer back at them. It's gonna be
a problem. But like, I got numbers today that I was sharing with you.
Yeah,
I was looking for some ROI numbers and stuff, and I'm like, wow, that's crazy. And I sent it to you the first time. I'm like, I can't believe it. That's nuts. And then I went to say it to Tom, and as I said it to Tom, that's when it hit me.
That doesn't sound right.
No, hold on, that doesn't make sense. And then I went back and I checked them again, and they were like, it was like 1/5 of. They were still crazy, but it was like it went from a 600% to like 100%. I'm like, okay, that's more normal.
Sure,
that's what I thought. But it was just so you've still got to check everything, and I don't know how many people are.
Yeah, no, totally. And what have been wondering, I know there's going to be different LLM, so AI models, But if everyone's asking AI all their questions and the AI is just going to spit one answer or one narrative back at them, that's going to be weird.
Totally. Well, look, some people don't like Elon Musk, right? And they think he's far right, whatever. And, they look at Musk, they're like, well, this guy's controlling Twitter or X. He's controlling this Grok thing. He's going to control this network. Like, that's pretty crazy.
It is crazy.
Like, he can
Starlink, he controls Wi-Fi.
That's what I mean. So he can control what people think, how they see it, what access the information they have.
The amount of power Elon does have is crazy.
Yeah. And then on the other side, it was very obvious. Now it's come out in the open that the other tech platforms, to stay in the good graces of the government, they were controlling what people were
totally
seeing.
Censoring YouTube videos.
And they were censoring other things.
Yeah.
So
it came out just last week, I think.
Yeah. So some people are going to be like, so some people that believe in one thing are going to look on this is kind of, I don't want to use political terms, but they'll look at one side of the aisle and they'll be like, oh, so that's good. They need to censor that. But then the same people, when they're getting their own stuff censored, they're going to be like, oh, that's terrible. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You've seen some of this over the last couple of weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the Jimmy Kimmel thing.
Yeah, totally.
Right? Like, Jimmy Kimmel was someone that stood on his show and cheered for people to get fired and shut down. Like, he cheered about Tucker Carlson happening to Tucker Carlson. And I'm not saying love him or hate him, Tucker Carlson. I don't care. Like, whatever.
Sure.
Just like I don't care if you like or hate Jimmy Kimmel. But if you're going to stand up there and cheer for it happening to someone else and then cry like a baby when it happens to you, man, if that's not the most hypocritical thing, for the record, I think they're both wrong. I'm a believer in free speech. I think we should have, and if someone's saying something stupid and terrible, then we just all ignore them. Like, that's
agreed.
kind of the way it works.
Yeah.
Right? Like outside of, I don't know. I don't even know if this is covered under speech, but I mean, like, I'm talking about like just crazy criminal stuff that I'm not even gonna mention.
Sure.
But it's but yeah, like this type of thing. Like, I have an opinion, so I have a talk show and I share my opinion, and like, you have to be canceled. I'm like, no. Like, if you're saying the stupidest things and no one likes you, well, then you just, like, people stop listening to you.
I know. And then all the politics involved, and they were going to bring it back. Disney was saying they were going to bring the show back, and then I don't think they are now. I don't know. That's going to be a disaster.
No, I think he came back.
Did he?
But his ratings suck.
Yeah.
His ratings sucked before. Like,
I don't know who watches.
Talking about.
Yeah.
Well, who watches? But it's not even just him because he's Jimmy Kimmel.
It's just cable TV.
Who watches any of those shows? Like, look at your demographic of friends. Who we talked about in the office. Who even has a cable subscription?
Yeah, no one uses cable my age for sure. Everyone just streaming services.
That's it.
YouTube.
The only reason, so I don't have cable right now. I have, like, whatever. I think I leave it because I'm too lazy to kind of disconnect and send it back and kind of come and bring it back. But the only reason that I end up having it is for live sports for the winter. So it's more like hockey, baseball.
Yeah, that's
NFL.
necessary for sure.
Yeah, and I like the PVR aspect of it. Versus if I just have it streaming, I don't really have the PVR aspect.
Yeah, you can't go back. Yeah.
So I like the PVR aspect of it, and it's for live sports.
Yeah.
But in our family, with 3 other people in our family, no one has any desire for cable other than me, and it's only for live sports.
I don't know the last time I sat down in front of the TV to watch a show. Like, I'm just watching on my laptop, Netflix, and I'm watching a show, something like that.
Or YouTube. I think it's more even YouTube.
Yeah,
like
it is. Yeah, a lot of YouTube for sure.
YouTube, right? So it's that type of stuff. So
what's scary too when it just comes to, everyone's attention span is just the way, like, TikTok and YouTube Shorts, just the constant dopamine hits of you scrolling. That's what can get really addictive and scary, because I'm like, yeah, there's no way that's good. If you're sitting there for an hour just scrolling,
those are
watching
bad,
30-second videos, those are bad, and I wonder how that's going to evolve.
Yeah. I've seen it with the kids too, because when the older one they didn't have the YouTube Shorts, so we let her watch more YouTube. Now with the younger one, she watches YouTube, but it leans more towards YouTube Shorts. And I'm like, hold on, this is a problem. Like, we got to limit this.
Yeah, and it is addicting. Like,
100%.
I've caught myself scrolling, and I'm like, okay, I got to get off of this.
Yeah, you're like, I'm just like wasting away on this thing, And I've done the same thing before too. Even on X now, if you play one video on X, it'll just autoplay
another one. Yeah, I've caught that.
Right?
I've caught myself do the exact
and you're
same
like,
thing.
oh, you can just do that on X. So they've all done it because they know it's addictive.
Totally. Yeah, no, everyone's leading into it now. Okay, I want to circle back now to just some random stuff. This is a tweet from Steve Sereski a week ago. It says, OpenAI will use more energy than the UK or Germany in 5 years and more than all of India in 8 years. One company. And then he goes, meanwhile, Canada is self-imploding its own economy through anti-pipeline bills and capping oil and gas production.
I'm not commenting on that.
Yeah, that was just going to piss you off.
I wasn't going to swear. I said I wasn't going to swear.
Yeah, you're right.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Like, so do you think, I don't know, do you think we're going to tap into any of the energy over the next couple of years that Canada has?
There's no signs we're going to right now. So no, if I have to say if I had to guess right now in the next few years without seeing the budget, I'm going to say no.
That's just wild that all of this data center build that was going to happen with this just exploding industry, and it's not going to happen in Canada.
We've become weak people. You know how they say, weak men create bad times? We've had weak men and women in power. We've had weak leadership and we're creating bad times in Canada. That's exactly what we're going through. I don't know when it ends, but that's really what we need. That's really what the problem is, because if we're not investing in our infrastructure as a country, and we're not providing the world what they need, or not even the world, even providing us what we need as Canadians.
Well, just not having a railway across the country is wild.
Yeah. Well, just yesterday, Danielle Smith came out and she's like, hey, so, I want to start my own, that initiative for a pipeline to the West Coast. And immediately the BC Premier came out, no, our coastlines, we got to protect this, we got to protect that. It's like, who's paying for your coastline?
So, okay.
You're subsidized, yeah. But they're subsidized as a province. A lot of it's coming from Alberta, because Alberta has a surplus. So the other provinces get these subsidies, and they're the ones stopping it. It makes no sense. No one's got brain power anymore, it seems. Everyone's just they operate in a silo. Everyone's just got I think a lot of it is just virtue signaling, because they think that's what's going to get them elected, because I can't make sense of it. There's no common sense. So what, in the tweet there for what Steve's saying, yeah, I completely agree. We're going to self-implode. We make no sense. And the reason why people from Alberta are there's this, I don't know. I don't live in Alberta, but I don't know how much talk there is of they're like, oh, we should join the States. Yeah, I'd be pissed off too if I was them.
And what's the argument against building oil refineries in Canada and using the energy?
Yeah, my understanding from what I've read before, there's people in the energy industry are going to answer this way better than I can.
Sure.
But it's just because it's just not, the initiatives aren't aligned with the carbon goals that we want and the economy that we want. We want a green economy. We want to focus just on more on renewables, not on this type of fuel as an energy source. And that's what the problem is. So that's why we had governments come to us when the Russia-Ukraine war started and say, hey, we'd like some of your LNG, liquid natural gas. And that's when the Trudeau government said no. Their term was, there's no business case for this, right? And they turned them away. Remember, that's like you having a shop and saying, hey, I have these goods for sale. Do you want them? You're like, yeah, I want them. You're like, nah, maybe not. It just it doesn't make any sense.
Didn't Germany do something like they turned off their nuclear reactors or something in Germany too?
Yeah, now they're having to go more to coal, and it's just none of it makes any sense, because we're a fly on the wall when it comes to even global emissions. Even if you believed every single stat that they've said about climate change. Remember, climate change. When I was a kid, there wasn't climate change, right? Because even just the step before this, it was global warming. And then when I was a kid, it was about acid rain. The rain was going to come down, and it was because of the pollution. Yeah, the rain was going to come down from the sky. And because of pollution in the sky, it was going to make it this acidic rain, and it was going to start damaging everything. Even things like cars. Cars were going to be damaged by acid rain. So this narrative about how we're all going to die in the next, couple years if we don't make these mass changes. I'm not saying that there's not pollution and stuff like that. One thing personally that bothers me a ton with all our stuff is all these stupid plastic water bottles.
Yeah.
I hate them, and all the plastic in the oceans. Gross, disgusting. I think there's way more problems from that than we even care to admit. So I'm not saying there's not environmental problems, but I'm just saying what we're told and what the reality is are two different
Canada
things.
as a whole in global emissions, I think, or carbon, I forget what it was, is tiny.
It's tiny. China. If we care so much about what we're doing,
China's 30%.
We're not going to do anything. We could shut off every single factory we have right now.
And it won't even make a dent.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense. And we need energy. So as a stopgap until we get to the place that we do have renewable energy, we have energy and we have resources as a country.
And I think there's that Richard Diaz chart that we've looked at in the past. It's like Canada exports energy. We sell energy to pay for our goods that we import into the country. How does that work with, and I don't know, maybe this is a crazy advanced question. How does that work with the Canadian dollar? If we're just lean less and less on energy and are just importing goods, I assume that weakens the Canadian dollar.
Yeah, because your trade surplus is different. So ultimately, the more you are able to manufacture and sell, the stronger your economy is.
Okay.
That's basically the way it works.
Okay.
Right? So that's why the Chinese economy over time has gotten stronger and stronger, because they've been importing a lot more. They've been manufacturing a lot more. So they've been importing a lot more currencies, dollars, and then
country,
selling out goods. That's kind of where it's gone. And that's why the U.S.
has lost
because a lot of that manufacturing from the U.S. companies, they took it from there to there. You know what I mean? Like, there's definitely like way more detail to it than that.
Sure.
But yeah, in a nutshell, that's what it is. So like, if we have these resources and people want them, I don't understand why we're looking at them. Like, we have water, we have lumber, we have minerals, we have oil. Like, this is like, none of this makes any sense.
No.
Right. So, and then we just have no leadership to get anything done. Like, none.
Yeah. Okay. Now switching topics a bit again. If you were...
Sorry, let me just go on that. No, it's not just about the energy. Just think if we supported, like, selling the energy to elsewhere, just think if we supported our own industries with energy.
And didn't tax them to death.
Yeah. So just the leg up, if that we're like, hey guys, we got all this energy in this country. So you know what we should do? Any company that's going to manufacture something in Canada and that's going to create jobs, contribute to an economy, and they're going to have some research and development and kind of boost us up on a global stage and just make the country stronger as a whole. You know what we're going to do? We're going to actually subsidize the energy, because we have a lot of it. So instead of like charging you so much more as an incentive to bring companies and jobs and manufacturing here, maybe we're just going to give you a little bit of break on the energy. Maybe we should just tax you maybe just a little bit less. But instead, we're taxing them more. They're like, oh my God, you're using energy. You're going to pay a tax on it. These carbon credit tax things we need, we're going to charge a tax for you on that. And that they're trying to extract more and more money from people to go spend it on the stupid stuff that they spend it on. Right. And if you look at the list, like, never go look at the list of the stuff they spend the money on, because it'll just tick you off. It's so stupid. It's stupid. So anyways, it's just like, it's the most illogical thing. Like, there's just, you can't make sense of it. No one's been able to make sense of it to me, like, at all.
Yeah. No, it doesn't make sense.
Anyway, sorry. That was, I'll stop there. What else?
Okay. If you were to buy a property or do a development, where would it be and why? Let's say in Ontario.
Oh, wow. That's a good question. I have no idea. Would it be a Toronto multiplex? Because, I don't know, we're seeing just some options to add density. Yeah. Would it be... It depends on the size.
Student rental. Like, and I know the price point obviously swings largely. And then if you're going to do a development, it'll be different. Yeah, I guess I was thinking like more like subdivision type thing, or like a larger building or whatever. But yeah, if you're... So let's say like... whatever, under 10 units or something. Yeah. Yeah, there's, I think because when Craig Race was in here a few weeks ago, he opened my eyes to some of the things that are going on in Toronto right now. And I think I'd probably still look down there, because I can get, and here's why, I can get access over a certain number of units. You can access to cheaper financing. You can get like financial CMHC incentives. Stuff. Yeah. Yep. So I'd take advantage of that. In Toronto, you still have like very low vacancy rates, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. I know in the condo market, rents have come down a little bit, condos specifically, but these types of projects, they generally will attract a different type of person, because they're not high-rise condos. Totally. So then you're going to have relatively low vacancy rates. You don't have to worry about that. And then right now, you don't have to worry too much about zoning. Like, there's areas in Toronto where you can do as of right up to 6 units, and that's going to just make the whole kind of process easier. So right now, the numbers there and the lift that you get on that property by going into those areas probably makes sense. There's probably going to be a time where that gets a bit saturated and it pushes some of those lot numbers up. Okay. Because people know that, you can put more and more on them. So kind of they build those prices up and the numbers may be less attractive. But if I was looking at right now, and I was looking at doing more than like adding 1 unit, but doing less than like a 10 unit thing, I'd probably be looking in the Toronto area. If I was looking, why I paused earlier is if I was looking at like a larger like subdivision type thing, or like, 50 townhomes infill project or something, or, sure, or even like 30, whatever. In that case, I was trying to think of a community outside the GTA, and I'd probably have to look at like immigration and employment numbers.
Probably some areas around Hamilton, I still think probably going to have some growth. You're still between the biggest city in Canada and the biggest economy in the world in the U.S.
Totally.
So you're along those lines, which I think has opened up opportunities. So I'd probably be along those lines somewhere for that type of thing.
Okay, interesting. And then if someone came to you and said, Nick, you got to pack up and go. You can't stay in Canada any longer. Where would you go?
Oh, man. Oh man!
Loaded question. But I don't know.
No. There's so many spots.
I know.
There's so many spots. I'm out of here. No problem. Oh, like, I'm gone. No problem. Thanks. You made the decision easy for me.
We're actually checking out El Salvador in a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
that'll be interesting.
Yeah. I still haven't booked actually. I think I'm going to come.
Cool.
And check it out. But I want to. So Europe. I'm biased towards Europe. I love
those summers and the coastline over there. You can't beat the food.
And I love being in Europe because you can go from one place to another so easy. So I might head over there. So Croatia's the natural easy place just because we have a place and citizenship status there and stuff like that. So that's easy. Yeah, as an initial one, might just I probably wouldn't go to the Caribbean because I feel like I love being on the island there, but I might not want to be just on an island. In any other place I had to go, I had to hop on a plane. I might not like that. So I'm just talking off the top of my head. So let's scratch that one off for now. So I'd go someplace in the US or I'd go to Europe. That's where I'd
maybe a mix of both.
Now, yeah. Oh my God. Okay. Now if I can mix and match, then yeah, 100%. That gets easy. Then
yeah, that's a good duo.
Yeah. I'll pick a few countries.
Okay, and then now just because you said the US, I got to ask where.
I've always thought that for climate wise, somewhere like not too far south, not too far north. So I've always thought someplace equivalent to kind of where the Carolinas are, North, South Carolina there. Like,
I've never been, but the pictures over there look great.
Yeah. And just that as far south as that gives you 4 seasons. They're not as extreme.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So you kind of get, in my head, I'm telling myself you kind of get the best of all worlds.
Seasons.
You know what I mean? I'm like, that would be kind of nice.
Yeah.
So it doesn't get too crazy cold. Doesn't get, like Florida or Texas hot type thing. And so that always kind of somewhere along there seemed to interest me, but I've never been. I have no idea. But that's just that's the story I've told myself since I was younger. So that's where. So I'll go there and check it out first.
Okay, cool. No, we were all over the place there, but thanks for answering those questions. And go Jays. I guess game
Jays.
1 is this weekend. I don't know when this will come out, but
I don't know. I'm not a baseball fan at all. I got to be honest. But come September, I jumped right on the.
I'm not either. Yeah, but I'll be watching on the weekend for sure.
I was right on the bandwagon. I was checking scores. I was cheering. I'm talking baseball now, but I know nothing. I literally know nothing. But I'll.
I know. I just know Kirk is an animal.
Yeah, and I know how to celebrate when they win.
Yeah,
So
me too.
I'm good at that. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Cool. Sounds good. See ya.